Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're zooming in on a topic that is so specific, so niche, that it reveals these, universal truths about how the world really functions.
Mm.
We're talking about the hyper-specific, high-stakes world of legal document delivery.
And we were not just talking about any delivery service.
Yeah.
We're looking at process serving in one very unique community, River Ridge, Louisiana. That's zip code 70123, deep in Jefferson Parish.
That's right. And our mission today is really a masterclass in hyperlocal expertise. We're going to unpack why geography, the actual topography.
The way the streets are laid out.
Exactly, and why the local court jurisdictions matter so much when a legal paper absolutely has to get served on time.
It's really fascinating, the amount of strategy that goes into just delivering a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Before we get into the maps and all that, we need to be really clear about our role here for you, the listener.
Yes.
We are looking at the logistics and the strategy of this industry. This is all purely informational.
We're your guides to the source material, but, and this is important, we are not your legal counsel.
Precisely. Our sources are very clear that the people providing this service are professional process servers. They are not attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
So they aren't giving legal advice. They don't represent people in front of, say, the SEC or the IRS. If you have a legal problem, you absolutely have to contact a qualified attorney.
Or your local bar association.
Right. We're just here to nerd out on street layouts and courthouse logistics.
Duly noted. Okay, let's get to the fun part, the geography. Set the scene for us in River Ridge, 70123.
Well, on paper, it looks, idyllic, just a quiet suburb.
But for a process server, it's something else entirely.
It's a perfect storm of challenges, really. River Ridge is almost exclusively residential.
And that's the key distinction, isn't it?
It is. You look at its neighbors. Harahan is industrial, lots of warehouses. Metairie is all commercial hubs. River Ridge is different. It's described as nestled between the Mississippi River levee and the bustling Jefferson Highway.
That sounds picturesque, but what does that nestling actually mean for someone trying to deliver a legal document on a deadline?
It means immediate complexity. You have these quiet, established neighborhoods, places like Little Farms and Riverside Park, and then you have these, exclusive riverfront properties.
Okay.
But the biggest challenge, by far, is the levee itself.
The thing that's supposed to protect the city.
Exactly. And the streets right up against it, they're intentionally winding, they're often poorly marked, and they end. Dead ends everywhere.
So a standard GPS is useless.
Completely confused. If you're some generic nationwide server just relying on Google Maps, you will get lost. You will waste hours.
It's like the environment is designed to delay anyone who isn't a local. So what's the actual operational challenge here?
It's kind of a two-part problem. First, you have people using that quiet exclusivity to hide.
Right, in the gated homes near Riverside Drive.
They leverage the confusing streets to just disappear. And second, you have the problem of timing. How do you serve someone who works along that really busy Jefferson Highway corridor?
And if you're just using a standard GPS app to plan your timing, what's the first roadblock you hit on Jefferson Highway?
You run smack into what the local firms call the Jefferson Highway crawl.
The crawl.
Yeah, and this is where that local knowledge provides immediate, quantifiable value.
Walk us through it.
Okay, so a server from a big national company, they might look at their app and think, oh, 8:00 a.m., that's a good time to catch someone at home.
Or 3:00 p.m. when they're getting back.
Right. But those are the absolute worst times. They line up perfectly with school zone speed limits in the peak of rush hour. Jefferson Highway just becomes a parking lot.
And we're not talking a minor delay. This can stall a whole route for an hour, maybe more.
Absolutely. And that could make you miss a critical filing deadline back at the courthouse. The local servers, though, they plan their routes to avoid these choke points.
They know the side streets, the school zone times.
They know exactly when the streets are actually functional. It's not just about knowing where, it's about knowing when.
Which brings us right to the core of it, really. Why that hyperlocal knowledge is so much better than just calling a big generic company.
Because a generic company treats River Ridge like any other zip code, and they fail.
Right.
Access here is all about discretion and knowing the specific entry points. Local servers, the ones operating right there in Jefferson Parish, they have a high success rate because they know the lay of the land, down to the little access roads.
They know how to get into those secluded pockets behind the levee without, making a big scene.
Exactly. If you don't know the back routes or how to handle a dead-end street without alerting the whole neighborhood, your target is just gone.
So that local understanding is what lets them affect service when others fail?
It is. They even map their areas based on topology, not just addresses. They talk about their zones. Little farms, Riverside Park, the Jefferson Highway corridor, and those infamous levee streets.
Oh, this is where it gets really compelling because we're moving from theory to, well, tactical reality. There's that great testimonial in the source material from Jennifer P., the paralegal.
Oh, yeah, that one's a perfect example. It just shows the level of persistence you need.
So what was her situation?
She had a, quote, difficult defendant living near the levee. This person was actively avoiding service, not answering the door, just hiding in their exclusive home.
And most servers would just log 3 failed attempts and give up?
A lot of them would, yeah.
Yeah.
But this team didn't. They shifted from a simple knock and wait to a full-on tactical monitoring plan.
So they didn't serve him at the door?
No. They persistently monitored the location. They waited until he was finally seen leaving for work, and they served him as he was physically walking out of his own property.
Wow, that's surveillance. That's patience. It's adapting your strategy on the fly.
And if we connect this back to you, the listener, it just shows that applying knowledge, whether it's this or, say, analyzing a complex data set, it's not about a checklist. It's about active monitoring and critical adaptation.
Absolutely. But, all that field work, all that persistence, it's completely wasted if the paperwork gets filed at the wrong courthouse. So let's talk about the jurisdictional puzzle in River Ridge, because the sources say that mixing up the courts causes huge delays.
It's a massive point. So you've successfully served the papers. Now what? Where do you file them?
River Ridge is on the east bank of Jefferson Parish, but its cases can be split between 2 very different courts.
Okay, so break those 2 courts down for us.
First, you have the most local one. That's the First Parish Court, or FPC. It's in Metairie on David Drive.
And what's its jurisdiction? What can it handle?
It's a court of limited jurisdiction. So East Bank cases only, and this is the important part, there's a civil suit ceiling of $20,000.
$20,000, okay.
It's for smaller stuff. Traffic tickets, misdemeanors, maybe an eviction, or a small claims dispute from a River Ridge address. That's probably going to land in FTC.
So if your claim is for $20,001, you are in the wrong place. You are. And filing in the wrong place means immediate rejection, wasted time, and you're suddenly in danger of missing a legally mandated deadline.
So where does everything else go?
Everything else, major civil cases, felonies, and, crucially, all family law like divorce and custody for the entire parish, goes to the 24th Judicial District Court, the 24th JDC.
And where is that located?
It's in Gretna,
Yeah.
which is on the west bank of the Mississippi River.
Now, that geographical separation is a huge deal for logistics. We're not talking a short drive across Metairie anymore.
Not at all. If your server has to file proof of service at the 24th JDC, they now have to cross the Crescent City Connection Bridge.
Multiple times a day, probably.
Right. And that means tolls, that means traffic, that means adding, 30, 45 minutes to the clock each way, maybe fighting rush hour bridge traffic.
It's just fascinating that the physical infrastructure of a city, the river, the bridges, directly impacts the speed and the cost of the legal system.
And it shows how intertwined the geography and the bureaucracy really are. I mean, imagine a national server who just sees Jefferson Parish on the filing.
And drives to the closest courthouse.
Exactly. And they file a $30,000 lawsuit at the First Parish Court.
Yeah.
You've just lost days, and the client paid for a complete failure, all because of a lack of that very specific local knowledge.
The cost of ignorance is measured in court delays. Okay, so we know where to serve and where to file. Let's talk about the other support services offered here. It's more than just dropping off papers.
Oh, absolutely. It's a total logistical backup system. Legal support isn't just about the delivery. It's about getting the information you need to even move the case forward.
The stip tracing has to be a big part of that.
It's critical. And we're talking about using advanced proprietary databases, not just, the phone book, to find these evasive defendants.
Right.
But it's broader than that. They offer dedicated legal courier services, which is essential for getting sensitive documents across the river securely.
What about the more administrative side of things?
You've got registered agent service for businesses. You've got mobile notary services for quick affidavit signing. And they also do document retrieval.
Pulling old records from the archives.
Pulling huge case files from the clerk of court archives, which can be an incredibly bureaucratic and slow process if you're trying to do it from out of town.
It sounds like they're just trying to remove every possible point of friction for their clients. And of course, a big part of that is speed. They have different tiers of service.
They do. They recognize that, not all litigation has the same level of urgency.
So Detail those tiers for us. What's the baseline?
The baseline is routine service. With that, they guarantee the first attempt is made within 3 to 5 days.
Which is fine for most things.
Yeah, for a standard case where deadlines aren't immediate, it's perfect. But then you have rush service.
Okay.
With rush, that first attempt happens much faster, within 24 to 48 hours. That's for when a court date is looming.
And then there's the highest level, same-day service. That's got to be for emergencies.
Immediate dispatch. And it's usually for a critical safety or financial issue. The source gives a great example. Serving a temporary restraining order, a TRO. If you need to serve a TRO, which is about an immediate safety threat, you need that paper delivered before the defendant leaves their house. If you miss them, you could lose that entire protective window.
And that's where having a dedicated private service really shows its value compared to, say, relying on the sheriff's office.
That's the final comparison the source makes, yeah. The sheriff's office is dedicated, but they're naturally overwhelmed with criminal duties.
Public safety comes first.
Of course. So civil process serving just becomes a lower priority. It moves slowly. A private server, on the other hand, prioritizes your civil papers immediately. It's faster and far more reliable for something time-sensitive like a TRO.
Okay, so let's bring this deep dive home. We started by mapping out the geography of River Ridge, the winding levee streets, the Jefferson Highway traffic. Then we connected that to the jurisdictional puzzle, knowing whether to file in the East Bank's First Parish Court with its $20,000 cap or go all the way across the river to the 24th JDC.
And the core insight really is that in legal matters, these tiny local details, traffic, dead ends, the monetary limit of one court versus another, they aren't just footnotes.
No.
They are the operational details that determine the speed, the cost, and ultimately the success of the whole process.
Couldn't have said it better. And that brings us to our final provocative thought for you today. We mentioned that successful serving in a quiet place like Little Farms requires incredible discretion to avoid tipping off the whole neighborhood.
Right, you have to be almost invisible.
Yet we also heard that testimonial about the paralegal who needed the server to be intensely persistent, monitoring a house for hours until the person finally left.
Which is the opposite of discretion. That's being relentlessly present.
So how do you balance those two demands for discretion and persistence when a critical document has to be delivered? And what does that tension, the need to be both invisible and ever-present, what does that reveal about the nature of these tight-knit communities? Something to think about until our next deep dive.
Indeed. Until next time.